All right, so I'm going to use this quiz that we just finished taking. Again, I'm going to kind of review backwards, so I'm going to do the last section first. Again, since it's just fresh in your mind, thought we would go over this. Some of you guys did fairly well, pretty well. Nobody got 100 on it, but I got a couple people that got a 19 out of 20, which is good, which means you only missed one. Some, not so well. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, passing's not good enough. All right? So let's do this. You're going to leave in a second. You don't know how close you are to leaving. All right. So I don't know. I'm not going to. I was going to harp about how many times I went over this, and we went over it right the day before the class. I guess I am harping on it. So let's just do it right now. Here we go. It says find the x and the y-intercept. I'm not going to go through a big explanation of like why you do this. I did it on the review, but on this one, I'm just going to show you how to do it. Now, everybody watch, especially if you got it wrong. If you got this wrong, you should be writing this down right now, okay? If you got it wrong, you should be writing it down. Now, some of you guys, I gave you credit for it, but you didn't put the answer in the right form. What did I tell you the day before you took the quiz on how you're supposed to write the answer for this? Not x equals a number. How are you supposed to write it? As a what? What do we call this? As a what? What's that whole thing called? An ordered pair, right? We want to write it as an ordered pair. Okay? So your answer needs to look like this. I'm telling you right now. Write this down if you need to. All right? I got witnesses because I got this recorded. All right? And I had it recorded before, but I took it easy on you. If you don't have your answer written as an ordered pair, I'm marking it wrong. Everybody hear me on that? Do you hear me? Okay, it's on the video. I don't know what time it is on the video. Let's see. Does it give me a time on this thing? Yep, about 2 minutes. At about the 2-minute mark. So remember that. At the 2-minute mark, I said, if you don't write your answer for the x and y intercept as an ordered pair, I'm going to mark it wrong. Okay? All right, I don't know what else I can say. I had so many people, this class and the other class, just wrote x equals y equals. When I said you need to write it as an ordered pair. All right, enough of that. How do we find the x-intercept? What do? We set something. We set what? Y equal to 0. All right? Again, I don't know how many times I got to say that. I just had people not even do anything. Left it blank. Some people did. All right? Some people just put in a number. You set y equal to 0. Write it down. If you got it wrong, you don't know how to do it, write this down. You set y equal to 0. What does that mean? That means you're taking this thing right here. That's what you're setting y equal to 0. All right? So wherever you see a y, what are you going to make it? A 0. That's right. So we're going to rewrite this equation, but instead of 4y, it's going to be 4 times 0. All right? So let's write it. So I've got 3x minus 4 times 0 equals what? 12. Just rewriting that equation, okay? All I did was just rewrite this equation, but instead of putting a y, I put a 0 in for the y. So let's go through it and do our math. It's not that difficult at all. Basically, 1 step. It's kind of 2 steps, but really, it's really 1 step. What's going to happen to this? This is the step that's really not a step. Minus 4 times 0. What's that? That's 0. So it just goes away, doesn't it? All right? So what do I have to do now to solve for x? One little step. One little tiny, easy, simple step. What do? Well, I divide this by 3 first, and then I do the 12 divided by 3. All right? What happens here? It cancels. What's x equal to? 4. Do I write my answer as x equals 4? No, I don't. I write it as a what? As a ordered what? Ordered pair. So the x is 4, so the first one is the 4. What's the second one? How do I know what the second one is? It's 0 because why? I set y equal to 0. I made y equal to 0 to begin with, okay? So the x is the 4 and the y is the 0. Does that make sense? Okay. Now let's do the y-intercept. So to do the y-intercept, what do you think we do? We set x equal to 0, all right? You set the opposite one. All right, if I'm finding the y-intercept, I set the opposite one equal to 0. So the opposite of x, or y, is x. So I set the x equal to 0. So I'm going to go back to this equation. I'm going to rewrite it, but instead of writing 3x, I'm going to write 3 what? Times 0. That's right. So let's do it. 3 times 0, that's my 3x, minus, what else is left? 4y equals 12. Okay? 3 times 0 is 0. So what is this? Is it a 4y? It's a negative 4y. So how do I get y by itself? Divided by a negative 4. Some of you guys were doing this correctly, but you didn't realize that was a negative, or you just didn't think about it. So it's divided by a negative 4. So you divide this by negative 4. So y is equal to 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. Do I just write y equals negative 3 for my answer? Nope. Where do I put the negative 3 here? Put it in the second one, right? The y. And then what do I put for the first one? 0, because I set x equal to 0. And that's how you do it. Sincere. Question? Just stretching. Okay. Do you think everybody in here should be able to do something like that? Absolutely. Okay? It's just you're not studying. That's all it is. All right? I went through the same exact thing the day before you took the quiz. The same exact thing. I showed you how to do this. And still, many people did not get this. Didn't even know how to start it. It's because you're not studying. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. All right, I'm going to quit yelling. I'm going to just go on to the next one. But I just need to stress to you. I just feel I'm not doing my job if I don't stress to you how important it is to study for these quizzes and tests. And I don't think you are. I think you're walking out the door. You don't even think about it until you come in the next day. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? For some of you, you do. Okay, for the ones that did well, you probably did study it. Okay, but for those who are not doing well, that are not getting any problems right on this quiz, which there were many of them, okay, many people, this class and the other class, there's just no excuse for that. All right, I'm done yelling. I don't know, just something in me just has to say something. All right, look at this one. It says, is this the quiz I gave you? No. This is not the quiz I gave you, is it? This is the honors, isn't it? Does it say honors? It sure does. But that was the same problem, though, wasn't it? Yep, gave the same problem to honors. Oh, my goodness. All right, give me a second. Did you guys notice that? Yeah. It said honors before? Yeah. Sorry about that. Let's see, get rid of this. All right, let me, I don't want honors, I want CP35. Did I not make that into a, oh, goodness gracious. No, I don't have this. Why don't I have it on there? Oh, I know. It's just because I pulled it out of the file and I didn't. Okay. Let me do this real quick. Here, let me just, I'll just show you behind the scenes. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're not going to be able to see any of this stuff, but that's okay. You won't care anyway. Just go get a drink or something and come back. Or just fast forward. All right, so this is how I make up the quizzes and the tests. So I make them myself. See, this is all just me doing this. And remember I said I had one quiz written out and it was all just graphing, but I did not give that one to you. So there's actually 2 3-5s. Which one is the one that I gave you? This one right here, right? 6, yep. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to export it. This is page 11. I'm going to export it, and we're going to call it CP section, what is it, 3-5? Yeah. And it's page 11. I'll export it. All right. Now, it should be here. Oh, let's go back to this. Almost done. Give me a second. Let's pay attention. Everybody watch what I'm doing. I'll put that right there. There we go. Now, I just got to resize it a little bit. Shh. Just sit and watch, okay? You don't have to talk. Just sit and watch. All right, there we go. Now, this looks more like your quiz. So that had me fooled because the first question was the same. All right, now we're ready to go. Everybody up here. So this one says, write the what? The slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to try to do is make this into this form. So really, what am I going to have to do? Just do what? Solve for y. Just get y by itself. Now watch how easy this is. Some of you guys are just going to kick yourself because it's so easy. Now watch. If I want to get y by itself, how do I get y by itself? I have to get rid of what? Not just the x, the 6x. I got to get rid of the 6x. How do I get rid of the 6x? We've done this dozens of times. Subtract a 6x. And then subtract a 6x. Do you recall doing this? Yeah, we've done this a bunch. All right, that cancels out. So what am I left with? Y equals. Now, am I going to write up 5 minus 6x? No, because I want the x to go first. So how do I write it? Negative 6x, what? Plus 5. It's as easy as that. It's that easy. The next problem is even easier than that one. It's super easy. And I'm getting all kinds of crazy answers for number 3. But watch. What does it ask you to find on number 3? No, it doesn't ask you to find parallel. It asks you to find, read the instructions. What's it say? Find the what? The slope. Okay? Find the slope. That's what you're finding. So here's your equation. It's y equals negative 5x plus 2. So we're trying to find the slope of a line that's parallel to this line. Well, what do we know about slopes that are parallel to each other? They have the same slope. So whatever the slope is of this line, that's going to be the slope of any line that's parallel to it. Hear what I just said? If I find the slope of this line, it's going to be the same slope as any line that's parallel to this line. And that's what we're trying to do, trying to find the slope of a line that's parallel to this line. What is the slope of this line? With just looking at it, no work needed. What is the slope of this line? It's negative 5. So I'm going to write m. Why do I write m? That means slope. M equals what? Just negative 5. Is it negative 5x? It's not. A lot of people, if you are one of them, you're not alone. Don't know why you would have done this, because I've never ever told you that the slope was negative 5x. What is the slope? It's the m. It's the thing that's right next to the x. Remember what the slope-intercept form was? Y equals what? mx. Which one is the slope? Is it mx? No, it's only the what? It's only the m. So what's the m here? It's just negative 5. If you wrote negative 5x, I marked it wrong because that's not the slope. The slope is just what? Negative 5. That was the easiest problem on this whole entire graph. Well, maybe a couple of the graphings at the bottom I thought were pretty easy. But I think this probably, I would say, is the easiest problem on the whole entire quiz. All right, let's do this one. This one says perpendicular. That's a little different. So two lines that are perpendicular, what's true about their slopes? Are they the same? No, they're only the same when they're parallel. Donnell, up here. What's true about slopes that are perpendicular? What do we know about them? There's a relationship between them. They're negative reciprocal. That's the key phrase right there. Okay, negative reciprocal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope of this line. This one's not quite as easy as this one. All right? I got to do a little work to find the slope of this line. It's not just right in front of me. I can't just look at it and say, that's the slope. So I got to find the slope of this line, and then once I find the slope of that line, what am I going to do? I'm going to take the negative reciprocal of it. All right? So let's find the slope of this line right here. So how do I do that? I put it in slope-intercept form. So I subtract a 3x from both sides. Okay, that cancels out. I'm left with negative 4y. Switch the negative 3x into 2. So I'm going to go negative 3x first, plus 2. One more step. Divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. Okay, and then, so what is the slope of this line? I don't even care about the y-intercept. What is the slope? It's negative 3 over negative 4, correct? But is that the slope of a line that's perpendicular to it? No. It's positive 3 over 4. Thank you. It's positive 3 over 4. Because negative over negative is positive. Thank you for that. Okay? So the slope of the line, of this line right here is 3/4, positive 3/4. So what's the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this line? It's the what? The negative reciprocal. So what's the opposite sign of positive? It's negative. What's the reciprocal of this? It's 4 over 3. So that is your answer right there. So this took a little bit more work. You had to find the slope of it, but then you had to take the negative reciprocal. All right, let's keep going. We're running out of time. We did this one, and did you notice that I believe every single problem that we did on this quiz, we had reviewed, like exactly the same problems? Brandon, did you notice that when you were taking it? Yeah. All right. So there's no reason why we shouldn't know how to do these, because I went over every single one of these problems with the exact numbers, the exact same numbers. All right, let's do this one. A lot of people miss this one. I don't know. Did anybody actually get this one right? I got at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 of you. Okay, good. So let's do this. I want to find whether this line and this line are parallel to each other or perpendicular or neither. I had so many people writing both things, finding the slope and saying parallel and then finding the slope and saying perpendicular. It can't be both, right? You can't get two lines that are parallel to each other and also perpendicular at the same time. It doesn't work. These are two lines. We're comparing those two lines to each other. All right, I'll use these markers. See these two lines? What are these two lines to each other? Parallel. What are these two lines to each other? Perpendicular. That's what we're doing, okay? This is line AD. This is line BC. I got to decide, are they parallel, are they perpendicular, or maybe they're like this. They're neither parallel or perpendicular. That's what I'm trying to find with those two lines. You got to understand what you're actually finding instead of just doing the work and just doing it because I told you to do it. All right, so let's do AD. I'll write this down. A is negative 3, 4. I'm just writing them over again just so they're next to each other. And D is 0, 3. Everybody got that? So those 2 points make a line. If I was to plot both of those points on a graph, I would get a line. All right? I'd get one line. They're 2 points, but I get one line. So what am I trying to do? How do I know if they're parallel to each other? How do I know that these two lines are parallel? What can I say about them? They don't touch each other, but they have the same what? Slope. Exactly right. They have the same slope. What if they were perpendicular to each other? What would I know about them? Their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. So what am I trying to find with line AD? I'm just trying to find the what? The slope. Okay, so let's just find the slope of those 2 points. So the slope, we've talked about this a whole bunch. How do I find the slope? I subtract the y's, put them on top. So 3 minus 4, and then subtract the x's and put them on the bottom. 0 minus what? Negative 3. So what do I get? I get negative 1 over positive 3. So that's the slope of line AD. It's negative 1 over 3. Now I got to take a look at my other line that they give me. What's the other line that they tell me? BC. So let's put B and C next to each other. So B is 3, 2. C is 1, negative 4. Okay? Now what do I got to do with that line? I got to find its what? Its slope. So let's find the slope. Let's do it again. We've already done it once. Let's do it again, but 2 different points. So I subtract the y's and put them on top. So I go negative 4 minus 2. And then I go subtract the x's and put those on the bottom. 1 minus 3. Let's see what I get. That's going to be negative 6. Excuse me. That's going to be negative 2. Simplify that, that's positive 3. All right, I found the slopes of both of them. Now we compare them. Look at that slope, negative 1/3. Look at this slope, 3/1. Is there a relationship between those two slopes? Yes. They're what to each other? They're negative reciprocals, okay? This one's negative, this one's positive. This one is 1/3, this one is 3/1. So they're negative reciprocals. So, which one of these three? Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Which one? Perpendicular. So that is your answer. Okay? Probably should just write it down instead of circle it, but you can circle it. Perpendicular. All right, so that's your answer right there. Okay, and this is why. You see this? It says, show why they are perpendicular or whatever. This is the why. I'm looking. If you just wrote perpendicular and nothing else, I marked it wrong. Okay, I've got to see this and I've got to see this. All right, enough of that. Let's do another one. This says, write the slope-intercept form. Okay, we've talked about that once already before, haven't we? What is a slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. All right? Here's 2 points, 3, 6, and 6, 0. Well, what can I do if I have 2 points? I did it twice up here. Look, I got 2 points here. What did I find? Found the slope. I got 2 points right here. What did I find? Found the slope. Well, check this out. I got 2 points right here. So what am I going to find right off the bat? The slope. That's right. So let's do that. Let's find the slope. So we've already done it twice. Let's do it again. Subtract the x or the y's from each other. Doesn't matter what order you subtract them in. We usually go the second one minus the first one. 0 minus 6. Then we do the same thing with the x's. So the 6 minus the 3. All right, let's see what that is. That's negative 6. That's positive 3. What's negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2. So that's my slope. Why did I need my slope? I need my slope because I'm trying to fill in the blanks. I'm trying to find what the slope is, and then I'm trying to find what the y-intercept is. Well, I just found the slope. So I could write y equals negative 2x plus b. I'm almost done. In fact, I'm halfway done. I found one out of the 2 things that I needed to find. So what's the second thing I got to find? The what? What's this? The y-intercept. So I got to find that. So it's a 2-step problem. And I think some of you guys are having really some issues when you have to do more than just one step. All right? If I just said find the slope, most of you guys would be okay with that. But on this one, you got to do 2 different things. You got to find the slope, and now we got to find the y-intercept. How in the world do we find the y-intercept? Well, I got an x and a y here. Do I have any x's and y's? Do I know what my x is equal to? Do I know what my y is equal to? Yeah, I do. I could use either one of these points. It doesn't matter which one you use. Which one would you like to use? I'd probably use the 6, 0. Doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer either way. So let's use the 6, 0. So what is the 6? 6 is my what? My x or my y? It's my x. And what's my 0? That's the y. So see this little equation right here? I'm going to plug those numbers in. So what did I say y was? 0. No. Right here. It's not a 6. Y is 0. Look, the first one, look, the 6, 0. The 6 is my x, and the 0 is my y. Agreed? All right? So the y is 0 equals, let's write the rest of it out, negative 2 times the x. What's my x? It's 6 plus b. Now we solve for b. Let's rewrite it. 0 equals, what's negative 2 times 6? Negative 12 plus b. One more step and we're basically done. Almost done. We just got to put it all together. But all our math is done. Solve for b. This is a minus 12. How do I get rid of it? Add a 12. So b equals 12. Now I'm not done because I want to put it in the slope-intercept form. I want to make it look like y equals mx plus b. So I write y equals m. What was my m? Negative 2. and then the x, and then what was my b? Plus 12, and that is how you do that problem. Probably the toughest problem out of the whole quiz. And I told you that when I first went over it. So this is probably the toughest problem that you're going to have. It's probably the most steps that you have to do to get an answer. But I showed you how to do this. I actually gave you the same exact equation, showed you how to do it. It's up to you to watch the video again. If you don't get it in class, watch the video. Or at least in class, write it down and go and look. All right. Got a few more minutes, just enough time to finish this up. A lot of you guys got the first two right, which was good. I was glad to see, but too many. To tell you the truth, if even one person missed this, that's too many, all right? Because I talked about this so much. Would you agree with that? Yeah. I thought for sure every single person was going to get the first two of these right. But I was a little disappointed. X equals 2. What does that mean? There's no y in it, right? So if it's x equals 2, it's going to go through the what? The x-axis. It's going to go through the x-axis. At where? At 2. 1, 2. It's going to go through the x-axis at 2. I had some people, this class and the other class, don't know why, because I've never ever done this, they just left the points there and they went on to the next one. They didn't make a line out of it. Okay? These are lines. You have to graph a line. All right? So, what kind of a line is it? It goes through the x-axis. What kind of line? It's a vertical line. It's a vertical line. So, we draw a vertical line, and then that is your answer right there. Super easy. No math involved. All you got to do is count to 2. That's it. All right? And know it's a vertical line. All right, what about this one? This is y equals just a number. So that means this goes through the y-axis. Where does it go through? At -3. 1, 2, 3. Is it just a point? Do we just put a dot there? Nope. It's a line that goes through that point, that y-axis. And what kind of a line is it? It's a horizontal line. So this is what it should look like this. Oops. All right, put the arrows on the end. I didn't take off if you didn't put the arrows. But there you go. Those are super easy. Everybody in here should be able to get those two right there. Everybody. There's no question about it. Right? If you're paying just even a lick of attention in class, you should be able to figure that out. Okay, this one. I was surprised that I didn't take a tally or anything of how many people got what right, but I think a lot more people got this right than got those two, which was good that you got it right, but I think these two are easier than this one. But anyway, at least you're getting this part of it. So what do we do first? We graph the -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a point right there. What is that 2? 2 over 1. That's my slope. So I go up 2, go to the right 1. I could do it a few more times if I wanted to, just to make sure my graph was accurate. All right, and then just connect them. Take it off the graph. Don't just connect those 2 points together. Luckily, at least that's one thing that you guys haven't been doing, is just connecting the 2 points. Because I've had kids do that before. That's your graph right there. Simple. Again, really no math, just counting. Just counting. Now this one you got to do a little math. Okay, you want to change this into slope-intercept form. All right, we've done this once already. Let's do it again kind of quick because I only got like 2 minutes left. All right, so to get y by itself, I'm going to rewrite it down here so I have some room. Okay, so watch. I'm going to subtract a 4x from both sides. That cancels. Bring down a 2y equals, I don't subtract this, not a 6 anything, right? It's just -4x plus 10. Divide both sides by 2. And so, let's scooch this up a little bit. So I get y equals -2x plus 5. This is what we're going to graph, this thing right here. Okay? That's what we're going to graph. So we come up here. Now, this problem is just like this problem, isn't it? All right? Little different number, but it's the same thing. Same kind of problem. So what do? Y-intercept is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a point right there. The slope is what? negative 2 over 1. So I go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1. I do it a few times just to make sure I'm nice and accurate with this. And I would encourage you to bring a ruler or a straight edge or something. Take another sheet of paper, just fold it in half, you got a nice straight edge. Or bring a index card. That's a nice way to draw a nice straight line, okay? All right, so that's the first half of our review. On Monday, we're going to go over the first half of the chapter, okay?